Hello everyone and good afternoon from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where today we are here at the Franklin Institute to check out Disney 100, the exhibition. Molly and I were both big fans of the Walt Disney Company. I've heard good things about it, so definitely want to check this out. In this video here, we're just going to show you everything the exhibit has to offer. And we have found the Disney exhibit.
There's a lot of satisfaction in developing ideas into reality. When we consider a new project, we really study it. Not just the surface idea, but everything about it. And when we go into that new project, we believe in it all the way. We have confidence in our ability to do it right, and we work hard to do the best possible job. There's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting.
Everybody ready? Then on the show!
A wonderful pre-show there, and then the museum does begin, including with a megaphone from the Laugh-O-Gram Studios, used by Walt Disney. Laugh-O-Gram was before they made the Disney Company. You have the Alice Comedies section, including some of the original theatrical release posters, a contract for the comedies that founded the Walt Disney Company back in 1923. Some historical animation. I think some of this is neat too. So you have like an Oswald the Lucky Rabbit stencil set, and then this I think is fascinating too, because it talks about how through contract loopholes Walt lost Oswald, and this was the telegram he sent after the meeting that he found out that he lost Oswald. This is the telegram he sent back to Roy. So that's really, really cool. Of course, after the loss of Oswald comes the invention of Mickey Mouse. They've got some different drawings. I really like this. This is the a story script page from Steamboat Willie. There's a small area for the Silly Symphonies. The next section is all about Walt's legacy, and it has a really cool timeline of the company with everything they did in that decade, like the 1920s with Steamboat Willie, over to the 1930s with Snow White, the 1940s with a lot of the classic films, Pinocchio, Dumbo, Bambi, when they started doing the True Life Adventure series. In the 1950s, obviously as a big theme park fan, when Disneyland opened. The 60s brought more films along with the debut of Animatronics. The 1970s, of course, near and dear to our hearts as Orlando residents, the opening of Walt Disney World in Florida. Moving on to the 80s on the timeline, of course, mentions Epcot, Tron, Tokyo Disneyland, along with Disney Channel and the Disney stores. The 1990s brings Euro Disneyland, a lot of those Disney on Broadway, Disney's Animal Kingdom. 2000s, Tokyo Disney Sea. I find it interesting, no mention of Disney California Adventure, just Disney Sea, and then Disney Studios Park. Pirates of the Caribbean, the 2010s, of course, Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, and bringing us up to today. The next section is where the stories come from. Big section here about the inspiration for the films, whether they be some of the classic Grimm's fairy tales, Marvel's Big Hero 6, and they have a vintage copy of The House on Pooh Corner by A.A. Milne. This might be my favorite prop so far. They have the prop storybook from the opening of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
That is awesome.
A section about Winnie the Pooh, including Pooh Bear from the adorable Christopher Robin film, the more recent one. And then a section about Beauty and the Beast. including some of the production models from the live-action remake. This one is also very, very neat. This was an animator's model of Pinocchio from the 1940s, along with some pictures. Now, a lot of the pictures are going to be reproductions of the original, so anything that I see with like the reproduction on, I'm going to try not to show that, or at least talk about it when wandering around. There's a Pinocchio outfit, which was used for a live-action reference while animating. Love this. They've got the prop book from Sleeping Beauty as well. And then Molly is at what's kind of a fun interactive. She turns the page, and the page turns there.
And there's sound effects for each.
There's a glass slipper from one of the live-action Cinderellas. The Mary Poppins section is really cool. They have the snow globe from the Feed the Birds segment, as well as the carousel horse from the Jolly Holiday segment. Nice photo op here with Dopey and a rabbit. The next section is the illusion of life. I love when any museum has things like this. They've got maquettes from tons and tons of Disney films. Pegasus, Jiminy Cricket, Gaston, Little Remy. Oh, look at Bernard. Pocahontas, Goofy from the 1940s, one of the gargoyles, Turning Red, Mulan. Oh, one of probably my favorite Pixar film. Carl from Up, Mater, Timothy Mouse, Genie from Aladdin, the sisters from Frozen, Frankenweenie, Mr. Tumnus, Moana. I love this because Buzz Lightyear really kind of ended up looking nothing like that character there. Oh, they've even got Judge Doom, and then Pete's Dragon, Donald and Frozone. Big table interactive here where you can learn about some of your favorite characters. Let's see, who should we pick? Let's go with Simba. Off the button. Let's see. Let's go with Simba's character design. All different ideas of what Simba could have looked like. In what looks like an almost impossible game, you have to guess the characters by their color scheme.
This is another one I got right.
Peter Pan.
Yeah. This is a hard one.
I have no idea.
Stitch. Does it make sense? Once
is that Gaston? Jafar, I'm close. Evil Guys from the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see.
This one. That one's easy.
Woody the Cowboy?
No.
Is that Robin Hood?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, all right. That's fun. There's a dress from the live-action Cruella film. I never saw that.
No, we have not. We should put it on our list.
Yeah, if it's any good, let me know in the comment section below. They have an Olaf puppet from the Broadway musical. And then Ariel's dress from, but not from the new movie. This was from the TV special they did, the live TV special. Up next should be a good one, the Spirit of Adventure and Discovery. The Peter Pan characters flying around on the floor. That's cool to see. That is Captain Barbossa's costume from the original Pirates of the Caribbean film. And then the ship in the bottle from On Stranger Tides. Is trying her best. Yep, she did. The interact which lights up the artifact, which was Captain Jack Sparrow's compass from the original Pirates movie. Another interactive here. You got to line up 3 of the same things, and then it's a plank of wood from National Treasure Book of Secrets. Before moving on to a section about the world famous Jungle Cruise, putting in an outfit from the film. But as a big fan of the parks, I love this. There is a model of one of the original Disneyland boats. And then some concept art for some of the additions they made to the Jungle Cruise. Molly is watching a interactive where we're showing off an undersea view. But what I really like, look at this model for the Nautilus. This was the model used for special effects shots while filming 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea back in the 50s. A section for Star Wars stuff, including a Porg puppet. I really like Porgs. One of my main complaints with Galaxy's Edge is there was no Porg Animatronics in there. A puppet form of BB-8, the ancient Jedi texts, Stormtrooper, and then Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from the more recent Rise of Skywalker. Outside of the theme parks, my favorite thing the Walt Disney Company does right now is the Marvel stuff. And they've got some cool things. They've got the Black Panther's costume from the movie in 2018. Thor's helmet from Thor. Something from the Eternals, one of the few Marvel films I really didn't get into on. Star-Lord's helmet from the original Guardians. Of course, everyone knows what that is, the original Iron Man mask. You get the Wasp's helmet. Loki's helmet's so cool. And then you might have seen the reflection, Captain America's shield from Civil War. Next section, all about the magic of sound and music. They've got Amy Adams' dress from Enchanted. I did enjoy that film. Really cool, lots of historical stuff for the first animated musical, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, like all of the sheet music for Whistle While You Work. Oh, that's cool. The record album from 1938. A fun picture with Mickey Mouse as a conductor. There's about music being an international language and the different versions of the songs, like it varies through, you know, Moana in all different songs, or Frozen in all different languages. And you get to pick whichever language you want to listen to. We don't talk about Bruno in out of all like 24 different languages. This is a mouse guitar from the Mickey Mouse Club in the 50s. Some of the artifacts in this exhibit are awesome. It's all about sound effects. So this was the whistle used to make the whistle in Steamboat Willie. Moving over here was a glass bottle they used to make the pickaxe sound in the Seven Dwarfs. And then these wind chimes here, well, they were used to make the noises for Tinkerbell in the original film. That's some really neat history. Mufasa's costume from the Lion King on Broadway. The next section is something that's very near and dear to my heart. That's music of the Disney parks. Over here you can see some hand-drawn sheet music for Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me, the album for the Haunted Mansion, which I think was kind of like a spooky ghost story album. Then there's this wall here. There's different listening stations where you can listen to some classic Disney songs, but I just love the wall itself. Look at all of this album artwork, everything from the parks to the TV show to the movies, and lots of wacky stuff too, old stuff like the official album of Disneyland and Disney World, or look at that, A Day at Disneyland. Some cool stuff there. You got one for Videopolis, which is like the teen-friendly, no-booze nightclub that was at Disneyland. Their Carousel of Progress had an album. Who knew that existed? Great artwork there for the Pirates of the Caribbean album. That was from the ride. Moving along, you also got stuff in different languages. You got one for Galaxy's Edge. Winnie the Pooh for President, that was a campaign they did run at Disneyland for a couple of years, or I think for 1 year. I love the music of the Disney Afternoon. Let's see what else we got. 101 Dalmatians. And yeah, it's really neat seeing all of this album artwork. Love the movie, the Goofy movie music. That's also top notch there. Encanto, Enchanted, Fantasyland got its own album at one point. The Disneyland Band got its own album at one point. See, I'm learning stuff here at this exhibit. The music of Epcot Center, that's probably a good one. America Sings, that's an attraction I never got to see. Mickey Mouse Disco, that is also used as a prop in the queue for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway out in California. Mousercise, another one of those wacky 80s kind of classic albums. And yeah, this is just really neat to look at all of these different pictures. The world around us is up next. I'd say probably not one of the more interesting areas of the museum, just talking about some of the nature films and connection to nature the Walt Disney Company has had. They do have an Oscar from Bear Country back in the 50s. But then again, one of my nitpicks with this exhibit, like all of these pictures you see on the walls, they're all reproductions. Like I don't need to go to a museum to see reproductions, you know, I can see that online. Do some stuff from Walt's trip to South America. And even like this modern kind of theme park art. You know, it's not, none of it's the actual art, it's just reproductions. Come on. Innoventions is next. I'm guessing this is not about the Epcot Pavilion from the 90s. There's a scale model of the multi-plane camera. I believe they have one of these in the Walt Disney's One Man Dream Museum in Hollywood Studios. Got some audio animatronic figures. One of my favorite things that the Walt Disney Company does. And this is actually what inspired Walt to build some of the animatronics in his park. He found this kind of like wind-up animatronic thing. I believe it was on a trip to Paris. And this is the actual one, so that's really cool Disney history. And with Disney building animatronics for a long time, well, they weren't always done on computers. This was what Imagineering would use to program the figures from like the 70s to the early 90s. Project Little Man, as seen here, was the first animatronic project that Walt Disney had the Imagineers kind of come up with back in the 50s after being inspired by the bird. And then a little bit nightmare-inducing, but they do have some of the audio animatronics from the original Lincoln from the 64-65 World's Fair. And that's neat to see. Here's a much more modern control panel showing the difference between the two. And then a hand, I guess was used in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in 2015. They do have a head from the Hall of Presidents. So they head from 2016 to 2020. And it's wild to see without the skin on it. Here's the Pixar image computer from 1988. I feel like I'm gonna like this next one. Yes, and it's all about the Disney parks. Got one of the trains from the Matterhorn bobsled. You got a coupon book from the 1960s, an employee badge, issued to Walt Disney himself, and a parking pass from opening day on July 17, 1955. This is a very famous clip from the opening day of Disneyland where Walt held this Mickey Mouse right here out the window on the steam train to wave. Got an Atomobile from Adventures Through Inner Space. And then Minnie Mouse's 50th anniversary costume from back in 2005. There is an audio animatronic figure of one of the It's a Small World dolls. Love this. They've got one of the demon figures from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Walt Disney World. Peter Pan's flight ride vehicle from Disneyland. It doesn't say which year. A pretty good sized model of Cinderella Castle at Walt Disney World. There's the Wonders of Disney is up next, including this fun photo op with Goofy. I wonder if this next exhibit is all about like merchandise that was for sale. I think it might be. Davy Crockett coonskin cap. And I love this, all these vintage kind of Disneyland brochures. Unfortunately, they are reproductions. It's a styrofoam hat from the Pooh for President promotional campaign they ran at Disneyland back in '72. Some neat props. There's the spell book from Hocus Pocus. And some Binford paint from Tool Time. Molly, these are very much you props.
Yeah, Lost. The dominant mystery half. I love Lost. It's a great TV show. I don't care if people hated the ending.
I believe we kind of reached the end of the exhibit. Got a screen here showing stuff with the Mandalorian on it. Got Captain Marvel's outfit. They say that's from Captain Marvel, but I didn't know if she had the Mohawk one until one of the Avengers movies. Maybe she did. Let's see, what do we got over here? From the new Peter Pan and Wendy film. And that'll do it for our time here at the Disney 100 Museum. I thought it was okay. I've seen a Harry Potter exhibit in the same space, and that I thought was much, much cooler. It was neat. I'm a big Disney dork, so did I enjoy it? Yes. I felt like it was presented pretty dry, like not the most fun museum exhibit you would find. Also, I feel like there's way too many reproductions. Like I don't need to go to
original.
Yeah, I don't need to go to a museum to see reproductions of stuff. Like I could do that at home on a computer or in a book. And it was pretty expensive to get in here. You have to buy a ticket to the museum if you're coming during the day. So that was $45 to come to the museum and see this exhibit. If you got any questions about it, let me know in the comment section below. And thanks for watching.